Thank you so much, Shubham, Rupali, Balaji, Sharan. Okay, perfectly fine. So what we are going to do now over here is, see, we will be making a meeting application, right? And in this meeting application, what we have seen so far, we have seen how we can store the data into our application and so on. But now what we are going to see is, you know, see, this question comes multiple times. Take the regular class. I am taking the regular class now. If on a specific class there's Holi or such festivals, I will be putting the leave, because there are two things you need to understand. Some students will say take the class. Some students will say, hey, I have Holi, I have to celebrate, I have to spend time with my family, and please suspend the classes. So in that way, if it is such something like that, I need to put it on leave, right? So it will be a leave, and I hope you need to understand that, right? Otherwise, I am not making any leaves now. Yes, we'll be having a session on Sunday, I believe now. This Sunday we'll be having a session. I have already shared the link inside the WhatsApp group for that, Rupali. The site got broke. We are still working on it. It has been almost fixed, right? But we have uploaded the recording inside the discussion group. If you check the WhatsApp, you'll get that over there, okay? But because the people make the discussion group a chaos place, so the things get missed, right? Please check it over there. So what we are going to do inside the meeting application, inside the meeting app, we'll see that we have got our application, right? So far, we were storing everything inside our application itself. And now we will be using the Firebase to store the database, okay? We'll store everything inside the Firebase. Where we are going to store everything? We are going to store everything in the Firebase. And we will fetch the data back from Firebase, okay? So we are going to create a meeting application where we can actually create a meeting. It's a kind of project for like, let's say there is an internal website for let's say there's a company, right? XYZ, or let's say Code Karo. For that, for the internal meetings, we are creating an application where the people can create the new meeting, and all the people inside that will be able to see the meetings, and they will be able to bookmark the important meetings, and the people will only be able to see the upcoming meetings or the today's meeting inside the meeting section, and they can also see the previous meetings in the previous section, and all of this data will be stored in the Firebase, and it will be a single page application. This is exactly what we are going to make in this project, and it will take 2 to 3 days to make this whole project. If you're excited, type EX in the chat box. Yes, Pratik. If you're excited to make this, type excited in the chat box, right? So what we will be doing is, let's quickly create the project and start working on to it. So let's quickly create the setup, and meanwhile, I'll show you a quick demo of this as well. So here we go. Let's go on documents, then we should be on 1318. And here we can say that I want NPX. Create React app. What do you want me to explain again, Sharon? And we'll name it as a Meet application. So let it create the whole project. Meanwhile, I'll show you how this project actually looks like. Okay, so I'll go over here. Let me open the folder from here. Right, so if I go on documents, let's see if we have okay, I think this is it. Okay, this is not. Let me quickly find it for all of you. Yeah, this is the project. Okay, so if we run this, and if I show this, how it will look like. So we'll simply say that we have npm start, and it will run the demo project for us. Yes, Pratik. See, so this is how it will look like. Like we have got this meetings, and if I go on all meetings, I'm able to see all the meetings. Okay, so I think there's something broke inside the Firebase. Not an issue. So what the thing is, we'll be having a meeting application, and if I go on add meetings option, so I'll be able to add the new meetings, right? If I go on this option called my meetings, so I'll be able to see all the meetings that I have bookmarked. And if I go on all meetings, I'll be able to see all the meetings, right? And we'll add a lot of other functionalities of filters into it that is not visible because of, I think, the Firebase token has been expired or something might have happened. So that is how it would look like. So let me quickly show you that how it's happening. Okay, our project got created. So let's quickly start working onto it. So what we are going to do today in today's session, we'll be creating the front end of that. We'll set up everything. So we are on 1318. This is our application. Let's open this up. Okay. Now let's quickly set up everything very quickly. So I'll just go over here. Let's start with the source folder. I'll go on index.js. And I do not need web vitals anymore. Do not need strict mode. Removing all of that. Removing web vitals. Okay. Now going on app.js. And from here, removing this logo. Cleaning out everything like this. Okay, all of this is okay. This is okay. Okay. And I can just say we have an h1 tag over here saying something else. Me tag. Okay. Okay. And going back, let me remove some files. That's logo.svg. Then it's going to be app test.js. I want to remove that as well. And I will also remove the web vitals. I'll even remove setup test. Fine. Okay. Now what I'll do inside this, I'll create a folder called components. I'll even create one more folder that's going to be the pages. Okay. And inside pages, I'll create a new file. I'll name it as home.js. I'll name it as add meeting.js. I'll even name it as not found.js. My bad. The JS should not be in capital letters. Okay. Fine. 3 pages is okay for now. Now in components, I'll create a new file and name it as navigation.js. Fine. Okay. A lot of things has been done. Now let me run this first. So we'll say npm start. And this is what is happening. We have this over here. Sure, Shahid, I'll do that. Now, if I go back and let's quickly start working onto it. See, we can start by the navigation bar first. So we can go on to the navigation.js and we can say we will be having a function, and the function is navigation like this. And we can say I want to return something, right? And we can say we have this nav bar over here like this. Okay. And we can say I want to export this default. It's going to be navigation, right? Let's go on app.js and we can simply import it. So we can say I want to import navigation from this, right? And I will simply go over here and I'll simply say that I have my navigation over here like this. Perfect. Let's go on navigation and we can say I have my logo. So I'll simply say I have an h1 tag or let's say h2 tag. And I can simply say ck meet, right, which is code for meet. Okay, it is coming in the center. We'll fix that later on. And now I can use one more div over here. And inside this div, I can put my links. So I can just use the link tag because we are going to use this React router DOM. So let's do that also side by side. We'll say npm install React router DOM. Okay, so we are even installing that. It's done. Let's go here and let me import that. So I'll say I want to import link from React router DOM. So now I can directly use the link over here. I can say link, and I want to link them to let's say home, right? And here I can say something else, home. Okay. Now let's see if it's working fine. Let's make a refresh. We are not getting any output. We'll fix that up. Okay. Is everything fine? If I've made a mistake, yeah, we will fix that. Yeah. Browser router. Not an issue. So let's complete that. I'll just copy this. I'll put it 3 times. Let's say home. I could say here my meetings, and I could say something else. Add. Okay. Now let's go back on our app.js. And here also we need our React router DOM. So I'll say I want to import what? I want to import the routes and route from yes from React router DOM, right? And now we can define our routes as well. So defining the routes is pretty easy and simple. I hope you all remember that. Do you all remember that? Yes or no in the chat box, please. Do you all remember that? Yes or no? Do you all remember that? Yes? Great. How can we do it? We'll just go over here and we will be defining our routes, right? So we'll just say that I have my routes like this. And inside these routes, I'll define my each and every route. But for that, what I'll also do over here is, see, let me import all my pages as well. So I'll say I want to import home from pages, and then it's the home page. And then similarly, I could say that I want to import not found from pages, and then not found, and then I'm gonna add one more page. Add meeting from pages, and then add a meeting, right? Now what we are supposed to do over here is I'll just define all these routes, right? So I'll simply say that inside these routes, I have my route, right? And for each and every route, we need path. And what is this path? The default URL where we need to put this. Now I need to say element. And what is going to be my element? So by default, I need this home like this, right? So this is the opening and closing. I'll take this, I'll put it for 3 times like this. So when it is add meeting, then I need to open here, add meeting page. For the remaining stuff, I need to open here, not found. Is that clear, everyone? Now we need to go on our index.js and we can say I want to import the browser router from React router DOM, and we need to render everything inside the browser router. We'll simply say we have this browser router opening and closing, and inside this, I have my app like this. So if you see this now, everything is okay now. Then if we go on app.js, it's okay. If we go on navigation, let me check it out what the issue is. We are not able to get anything. Let's see if there's any issue. You didn't import the link. I have imported the link. If you see this, I have imported the link from React router DOM. Right. And if I use that navigation over here as well, we have this navigation as well. So now if we refresh, I think there is something that is creating issues. Let's go into the console and check out if there's something. Okay. Okay, so something is coming over here. Fine. Let's make a refresh. Okay, so this is what we have got. Element type is invalid, expected string for built-in component. Fine, my bad. So the thing over here is, if we go on navigation, we have set export default navigation, it's okay. Okay, we need to do all of this as well. So let's quickly do it. We have this function that's going to be home. return, and let me go on this, and I'll just copy this for now. Or I can even copy this much. I can put all of that, and I will just remove all of this over here. I'll even remove this. What has happened to me today? Okay. This is what we have. Let me just clean these lines, and we can say format the document. Okay. And now an export default of. Let's copy everything. Let's go on add meetings, and we can say this is my add meeting page, and I want to export as well add meeting from here, and I can say here add meeting, right? In not found, I can put everything. I can say this is my not found. I'm exporting not found, and here it's going to be 404. Yeah, we got everything now. If we go on add meeting, my meeting, okay. Let's go on now navigation, and let's redirect them to add meetings or add meeting, I believe. It is add meeting, and it's the home by default. Like this. Let's make a refresh. Okay, still everything is coming. Fine. Meet app, we can see add meeting page, 404 page, and the default page. Okay. Let me go on home. Let me say it's a home page. Okay. I'll try that, Pratik, and then we'll use in the next session. Okay. Yes, Shubham will use that. Now, let me style the navigation part quickly. So we'll move on to the navigation part. And let me go over here inside app.css. We can start writing over here. We can say that when we have this nav bar, I can say that the width is going to be 990 pixels, or we can say 900 pixels. I could say that the margin is going to be 50 pixels and auto, right? And if we see this now, okay, we can say that the display is flex, and I can even say that the justify content is space between. So if you see this now, this is how it looks. I can also say that the align items center. Okay, everything is aligned. Let me make a quick inspect as well for this. Okay, this should be just 110 pixels. This looks okay. Now going back, what I could do is, when I have this logo class, I'll do something. And I will also say that, okay, here we can use a class name as well. So we can see that when we have this class name called links, I will copy this. I will go here and I will go here as well. Let me go here and I'll say that we have a class called links, and I could say that the color is black, right? Text decoration is none. And I could also say here itself that we have a gap of 16 pixels. So if you see this now, okay, not here. So we can say that we have a margin left of 16 pixels. So if you see this is how it all looks. And I can say that in my links, when anyone has this hover effect, I could say that the color is going to be gray, okay? And I could even make a darker shade of gray, something like this. So if you see this now, this is what it looks like to me. Okay, for this logo, I can say that the font weight is going to be bold, right? And I can say, yeah, I can say that the class is going to be logo. Let's go on fonts.google.com. Some font would have been selected. It's enter. Let's go on this option of import. Let me just copy this. Let's go on our app.css, or let's go on index. And let me just import this font over here. And now I can use this font family. So instead of this, I will just use this font family now. So if you see this now, this is how it looks now. And here I can say now 400 and 700 is there. I can also choose 800 also. So if I go here, now I can see that the font weight is 800. And if we see this, okay, this is what we can see now. Okay, this is what we have. I will also remove this from here. Okay, all of this is done. We have defined our routes and everything is done. So this is the home page, 404 and add meetings page. So far, everything is working fine. Now I will add the add meetings page today. We'll also add the home meeting page and my meetings page. So let's quickly do that. Let's go on add meetings. So inside now add meetings section, I'll go here and I'll simply say that I'll remove this class called app and I'll simply create a class here called let me say it's going to be a add container. And I could say it's add new meeting. Now I can say that I have an input field. My bad. Type is text. We need a placeholder. We can say enter the meeting title, right? We can close the tag. I'll copy this. I need few inputs like the title. I need a description. I need a date and time as well. So I'll input date and time. And then I need the description as well. And then I need a button as well. So I'll say that I have a button as well. It should be button with a class called button. This, and I could say something else. Add new, or I can say add new. Fine. Now inside this, let me quickly style this up. This is how it looks like by default. Now we have this option called add container. Let me take this. Let me go on this. So see, I'm using just one CSS file to write all the CSS. I highly recommend you to use other CSS files. Why? I'm using one to save some time, right? You can use just one to, what you can do is you can always make sure that you are using the multiple files, right? That is the best way, but I'm using it because we need to save some time. So we can say that the width is going to be 500 pixels. I can say that the margin is 50 pixels and auto. Okay. Now I can say that when I have my input field, I can say that the border is 1 pixel, it's solid and it's light gray in color. I could say that the border radius is how much? Border radius is 12 pixels, right? I could say that the padding is of 15 pixels. Font size is 17 pixels. And the width is going to be 100%. I can also say that the box sizing is border box. If you see this now, so this is how my input field looks like. Just one update is needed, and that is margin bottom is of 12 pixels. So this is how everything is being done. I can start writing something over here, look good. Now, what else I need? I need to say in add container, text align is left. So everything is left aligned. I need to style my button. So I could say I have this dot button tag. I would say we have a background color, which is going to be black. Okay, I could say that the color is white. I could say that the border is none. Padding is of, let's say, 18 pixels and 36 pixels. I could even say that the border radius is again 12 pixels. So if you see this how we got a button over here. Now I can say that the font size is 15 pixels. If you see this now, okay. And the last thing I could say that the cursor is pointer. So if you see this now, I got this. Now I can say here inside add meetings, into the meeting title, we can remove this option for now. We can remove this description for now. I can say enter the time, and I can say here something else. Type is date time local. So if you see this now, we got this. It is like this, I believe. Yeah. So we can choose the date and time of the meeting, meeting title, date and time, and I could say over here something else into the description. Into the description. Fine. So this is what we have added, and then we have the option to add the meeting over here. I will go back on this. I'll choose this to be an H2 tag. So if you see this now, this is how it looks like. And inside this add new meeting, we'll add the meeting. And then we have this home page, my meetings page, and add meetings page. What I want to show you today, that how many of you have seen animations in the buttons that when we click on add meeting, then we are able to see a loader animation? How many of you have seen that? If you've seen that, type me in the chat box in some websites. I have answered that question even 1,000 times, and I'm not even willing to answer that question anymore. See, what we'll do now, we'll just try to add an animation that when we are going to click on this button, then how can we add that animation over here, right? So when we click on this button, then we can see that, okay, the button has been clicked, because when you are creating a single page application, then the users are very confused because they cannot see that the page is loading. So at every point, you need to add the loaders, right? So that when the user is doing something, the user can see that, okay, something is happening in the background. Okay. Because when you're saving data on a database, it will take some time because the data will be processed, it will save, and then you'll get a response, right? So in that case, you need to add the loaders everywhere. So we'll save some time and we'll simply go on and we'll say CSS loading spinner. So let's choose this one. We have an spinner over here. So let's just use the same CSS. Okay, so this is the CSS that we need. We have a class called loader. Let's go on this, and I'll just put it over here, and I'll name this class as button loader. Okay, and inside this button loader, what I will be doing is okay, let me go over here itself and let me just modify the values. So I can say that width and height is just 40 pixels. Let's rerun this. Okay, we can say border is of 2 pixels. Let's run this up now. Border top is also of 2 pixels. Yeah, we got this. We can make it 20 and 20. So this is how it looks like. Okay, so we'll go here. We'll say this is 2 pixels. This is 2 pixels, and the color is let's say white. And for the border, I can choose a grayish color, something like this. Okay, and width could be 20, height could be 20. It's a button loader. So what we want, if I go on my navigation, sorry, if I go on my add meetings, see, after this, I want to add that over here. So I'll just use the span tag. Let's try to do with the span tag first. So if we do that, and if I add class name here called button loader, that's the class name, if I'm not wrong. Yes. So if you check this, okay, it is not working properly. So what even we can do is we can just use a paragraph tag, or we can even use a div tag, I believe, so that it works perfectly fine. If we do that, so yeah, if you see this, it's working perfectly fine. Now in our button tag, let me go in the button tag. I could say that the display is flex, and if you see this now, this is how it looks. I can also say that the align items is center. This is how we got that. And moving on to the button loader, I can also say that I need, a margin left of 12 pixels. So you see this now. See, that is how my loader is coming now. Let me do a few more things, and that is we want to make them even more smaller. So I can just use 14 pixels and 14 pixels over here. So see, this is how my loader looks now. I want to increase the speed of the animation as well. So I'll simply say it is of 1 second now, like this. It looks good. If it looks good, type LG in the chat box. Now what I want that it should only animate when I click on this button, right? It should not animate by default. It should only animate when I'm going to click on this button, correct? So what I'm going to do now is, in order to make sure when I click on this button, we can use what? We can use the hook. Which hook we can use in this? Any answers in the chat box? Which hook we can use that only when we click on this button, then this animation should start appearing? Which hook we can use? In the chat box, please. Why will use why will be using Yusuf? Rupali, can you tell me why we will be using Yusuf? Do you have any answer on that? Why will use Yusuf? Yusuf is used for waiting for others. Which hook we are going to use? So see, what you want that when this is happening, in this case, you can use a user state, right? So you can say that when someone is going to make a click on this button, on click, you can call a function called loader state handler, like this. You can go here, you can use a user state. You can say that import user state from React. And here I can define that first. I can say that let loader status, and then we have the set loader status, right? And that is basically going to be a user state, right? And the default value is going to be a false, which is a Boolean value. So by default, it is false. So when it is on false, this will not be visible. What we want, that when it is false, it will not be visible. And when we are calling this function, which is the loader state handler, when we call this function, then what will happen? We'll say that set loader status is going to be true. Okay. Now see, we'll go here, and what we'll do, we'll simply say inside this, we'll say that what we'll say loader status equals true. When the status is true, then what we want, then I want the class name to be button loader, and else I need nothing, right? So if you see this now, by default, I do not have this, but if I click on this button, it starts to load like this. It's good. And what we'll do in the upcoming session, when see, when we'll click on this button, this data will be imported, and this data will be sent onto the Firebase. This data will be sent onto the Firebase, like it's a database. And once the data is successfully saved on Firebase, it will return that, with a status that, okay, the data is successfully completed. And then what we'll do, then we will automatically set the status of this loading status to false again. And when we set it to false, it will stop loading again. Make sense? If that makes sense, type MS makes sense in the chat box. If that is making sense to you, type MS makes sense inside the chat box, please. Yeah. Okay. After this, by the next week, we'll start with the backend part of Pratik, okay? Like next week. So now moving on to the next part. I'll come on that as well, Aman. See, what I'm going to do next now is this clear to everyone? Okay. So let me even create the home page at how the meetings card will look like. So let's quickly create the components. I'll go on this components, and I'll create a new file. I'll name it as meeting card.js, right? And inside this meeting card, I can say that I have this, not this. Let me go here. Let me copy this meeting card. Meeting card. I want to even export the meeting card like this. And now here, I can say I have a meeting card class, right? And I could have an image on top. I could say I have the image with the SRC, which is HTTPS. We have source dot unsplash.com slash 1600 by 900 followed by, let's say, running. Okay, and I'll say ALT is blank, and I can just close this. After this, I could have a class name over here, and the class name could be meeting card image. And then I could say that I have an H3 tag over here saying something else. why you need to exercise to be a good developer. That's a meeting title, let's say, and we can even have the link to join that, right? So we can have a small description as well. So to get some sort of description, if I go back, let's choose this dummy text over here. Depreciated error means, Moin Ahmed, there's something, a feature or a code that was used previously, but now that has been changed, and now you are not suggested to use that anymore, and that feature will stop working after a period of time. Okay, that is what the depreciated generally means, Moin. Okay, so this is what we have done. Now I even need to add that button. And I could say something as join meeting over here. Could create a class name called join button. Okay, let's style this quickly, but before that, let me import this. So I'll go on my home.js, and in this home page, I'll simply say I want to import what I want to import meeting card from this, and after instead of this home page, I can just import this meeting card like this. So if you see this, this is how it looks like. Let me go on this. Now we have a class called meeting card, but I can say that the border is of 1 pixel, it's solid and it's light gray. I could say that the width is going to be 400 pixels. I could say that the border radius is 16 pixels. I could say that the margin is of 10 pixels. I could say that the padding is even of 10 pixels. Meeting card image width is 100%. And again, the border radius is the same. If we take a look on this, this is how it looks. We can also say that the text align is left. This is how it all looks. Now I need to style this join meeting button. And for that, I'll say we have this join button. And I could say that we have a background color called Dodger blue. I could say that the color is also Dodger blue. I could say that we have going to be border is going to be none. Border radius is going to be 12 pixels. I could say that padding is 12 pixels and 26 pixels. And the cursor is going to be pointer. Now the background color could be shifted to this. And the color is I can shift to this. Okay, so if we take a look, okay, I need to make this one even more lighter. We can even choose something like this. Right, so this is what we have made. I can make it as 360 pixels. Looks okay. And now what we can do is, see, this is the whole meeting, and we can create more such meetings, and we can save all this data to the Firebase, and then we can fetch all of this data. Make sense? Now that is what we'll be doing in the next session, right? That will be on Saturday. We'll fix this all up, and I'll see you all in the next session. The recording will be available by 11 p.m. Till then, bye, take care, and have fun. In the next session, we'll learn how to save all this data onto the Firebase, how to fetch the meeting details from the Firebase once they are saved, and we'll be completing this project on the Saturday session. So please be there on time in the next page. How to render one HTML page content to another HTML page using JavaScript. You can use iframes for that. Moin Ahmed. You can use for HTML, you can use iframes, not need JavaScript. You can use a tag. There's a tag called iframe. You can use that to render from one page to the other page. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care and have fun. Bye bye.